Good morning, everybody. Thank you for being here. If you will, like, share, comment. And then if you would if you're somewhere where where you're able, you can follow along with me in the book of First Peter, chapter number 2, and beginning in verse 13. And originally I wasn't going to read all this. It's kind of a long passage for time, but um, second thought, I think we need to hear these words. Beginning in verse 13, Peter says, "Be subject for the Lord's sake to every human institution, whether it be to the emperor as supreme or to governors as sent by him to punish those who do evil and to praise those who do good. For this is the will of God, that by doing good you should put to silence the ignorance of foolish people. Live as people who are free, not using your freedom as a cover up for evil, but living as servants of God. Honor everyone, love the brotherhood, fear God, honor the emperor." Wow, a lot being said there, but really, it's a lot of words to say something relatively simple, honestly. It's not necessarily easy to do, but a fairly straightforward thought. Um, he is reminding us that while if you've been saved, if you've accepted Christ as your Savior, you have a new King. You have a new Lord. You have a new leader. You belong to you're a citizen of another country. But he says, until Jesus returns, until we are reunited, until we are in the presence of God, we have to live in this world. And in this world, we have leaders. We have people who we answer to, whether he says it's the emperors or the governors. He says you have people that you answer to. If you remember, Jesus told his disciples on one occasion, "Render unto Caesar what is Caesar's." And so he says you may have you may have a different citizenship. You may have a new king. You may be looking forward to some glorious day in heaven for an eternity. But right now, you got to live in this world. And right now, be a good citizen. Right now, he says, submit to the human authority that is over you. So be subject to for the Lord's sake, to every human institution. You are subject to those who are in authority. Now, sadly, the world we live in is a sinful world. And we have folks who join us from other countries. But even in America, sometimes our government, those leaders, are less than perfect. How's that? I'll try to be nice. They make decisions, they make laws that are against the law of God, that are contrary to the teaching of God. And as believers, we have a obligation, we have a responsibility to protest, to stand up for the right. However, we don't use our freedom as a cover up for evil. We don't, in standing for what's right, we don't do something that is wrong. I think of example, that there have been examples of people who opposed abortion, who blow up abortion clinics, or who attack or even kill abortion doctors. We don't use our citizenship in heaven. We don't use our freedom. We don't stand up for right, but by doing something wrong is what Peter is saying. We don't stand up, and so Christians are to be the very best of citizens. Yes, we stand up against abortion. Yes, we stand up against pornography. We stand up against child abuse. We stand up against those kinds of things. But we never forget that again, this is one of those passages where we focus on everything else, but the real focus is the end of it when he tells us here that we live as servants of God. And we do that by honoring everyone, loving the brotherhood, fearing God, and honoring the emperor. That we respect authorities, we honor them, we fear God, we obey God, we love each other, we love people, we honor people, and then but doesn't mean we don't have a position, doesn't mean we don't take a stand, but we do it in a godly way. And that's one of the things. And he tells us that in verse 15. He says, you do that here to put to silence the ignorance of foolish people. We have all seen cases where churches, Christians, supposed Christians, protest and take stances and carry signs and do things. Again, I mentioned, bombing of abortion clinics and those kinds of things, and then do it in the name of God. And Peter says, no, that's not the way you do things. You live as people, as servants of God, honoring everyone, loving the brotherhood, fearing God, honoring the emperor, so that we don't give foolish people a reason to ridicule and to look down at Christianity. It's a tightrope to walk sometimes. It's a hard line to stand up for what is right, but doing it in a right way. But that's our challenge. You think about that. Have a good day. We'll see you here tomorrow morning.